Welcome to Phillip Island, Victoria in Australia. What a setting we have for this great sporting contest, the Little Penguin Sea to Dune race. Nervous moments always as they gather on the beach, the tension mounting, and away they go. There's the defending champion, wearing his familiar navy blue and white, great waddling style. Another pre-race favourite though, losing touch with the pack. Maybe that's why. A few too many fish in the day's feeding. There's a familiar face, Skip McIntyre, 8 times a champion back in the 90s, a very successful coach now, keeping a keen eye on proceedings. This the leading group, 1 or 2 still able to put on a show for the camera, others just ploughing straight over it. Some resorting to shortcuts. Sad that cheating has crept into this beautiful sport. The judges will have a look at that. But up at the front, the pace is relentless, closing in on those sand dunes that will offer a bed for the night. The fatigue starting to tell. Who's got the finishing kick up on the outside? What a turn of pace from that one, whichever one it is. No answer from the rest, and he takes victory. What a win. There we are, into the Burrow, building an extension with his winnings, and back tomorrow to try and defend his title here on Phillip Island.
You see the really big group.
Hey George, how you going? Yeah, that's the one. Oh, it's working now. Yes, it's working. People can hear us.
They know George is here. Was here.
Okay, I think we're all good to go. Thank Yeah.
And they said, yep, they can hear you again. Maybe after 5 seconds.
It's back again. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Okay, hello everyone. You can hear us now? I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties. Thank you to Tully for fixing them and George for trying to help me to fix them. Welcome to Live Penguin TV. And it is World Penguin Day, so happy World Penguin Day. You all saw that I have Rach here with me tonight who's monitoring the comments, and we also have a special guest who has been waiting very patiently to come up onto screen and say hello to you all. So as part of Nature Play Week through the Kids in Nature Network, we have Oscar who is joining us tonight. So I'm going to pop Oscar up on the screen. Oscar, if you want to unmute and say hello to everybody.
Hi.
Hello, thank you for joining us tonight, Oscar. Now, it's been a bit of a mess with the sound not working, so what I do want to do now that we have you with us and we've been able to say hello to everyone, is acknowledge the country that we are watching these beautiful penguins on tonight. So we are joining you guys from Boonwurrung country, and I would just like to acknowledge the Boonwurrung and their elders past, present and emerging as the traditional custodians of the land that we are on tonight. Now, Oscar, I believe that you know the custodians of the land you are on. Do you want to let us know who that is?
The Wurundjeri people. I also have an acknowledgement of country to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people, traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, and pay my respects to their elders past and present. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today.
That's so lovely. Thank you so much for that, Oscar. And we do acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from wherever any of you are joining us from tonight. So if you want to let us know in the comments where you're joining us from, we would love to hear that. Now, of course, as you've all seen while we were trying to work out the tech, penguins have already started coming in, and it looks like we've already got some good numbers here at the Penguin Parade on Phillip Island. Now, Oscar, have you been here to see the penguins before?
Yes. I mean, no, I haven't. I've seen them on the live streams. I really like the live streams.
Yeah, so you feel like you've been here before?
Yeah. Every time I've gone to Phillip Island, it's been in summer. So sunset's quite late, so they don't come out.
Oh, it's a bit past your bedtime at the moment.
Yeah, so I haven't been able to go see them the way I really want to see them one day.
Yeah, well, we'd love to have you here to see them soon. But you've watched them on the live stream, so you know a little bit about penguins already? Yeah? What was one of your favourite parts of watching the penguins on the live stream?
Probably the Penguin Highway. Me and my cousins think it's a penguin race, where they're like waddling along trying to beat each other to their burrows, and then some just stop aimlessly around for like 5 minutes.
They do seem to stop aimlessly, don't they?
Why? Because they're like out in the open with all those bushes for predators and to hide.
Well, you know what, Oscar? They're really only in danger when they're on the sand that we can see here in front of us. And I will flip over when we get some penguins on the highway. But once they get up past these rocks, they feel safe. So that's why they're stopping and having a rest. Now, what predators do you think might be out and about that they have to worry about?
Birds of prey, maybe. Dingoes, if they're there, probably not.
No dingoes here, fortunately. And birds of prey is a big one. That's why our penguins come out after dark. Because
the place where the penguins live is fox-free, so there can't be any foxes.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, here comes some penguins on the Penguin Highway. And I'll get us up there too. Yeah, exactly. We are fox-free on Phillip Island, so our little penguins are pretty safe once they're up on land. So those birds of prey have all gone to roost for the night. Luckily, no dingoes, no foxes. There is one more other animal that might be lurking in the bushes, like you said, and that is a feral cat. But we're lucky. We've never seen a feral cat attack one of our penguins here, but they are a little bit of a threat for some of our other wildlife. And Oscar, I believe you know a bit about some of our native wildlife here in Australia, and there's one in particular that that you did a little bit of a talk on.
Yes, I really like helmeted honeyeaters.
Yeah.
They're the state bird emblem of Victoria. They're critically endangered. And I think I read in 1980 they were so critically endangered that there was only 50 left in the whole world.
Wow, that's
So
crazy.
they've done a pretty good job with intensive breeding with them, and there's around 250 now.
That's fantastic.
I have actually seen one in the wild. I've been to the only place in the world where they live, which is around, I think, 1 or 2 hours away from where I am, and it's called in Yellingbo, and that's the only place where they live, so I was really lucky to see one in the wild. I did a talk with the Port Phillip Eco Centre as well about helmeted honeyeaters.
Oh, that's fantastic. And it's good to see young kids like yourself learn a little bit more about our threatened species here in Victoria. And that reminds me of a threatened species we have here on Phillip Island. Do you know much about our eastern barred bandicoots, Oscar?
No, I've never heard of them.
No? Have you might have seen some something that looks kind of like a little rat or a rabbit run really quick across the screen on the live stream before, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll try and see if we can spot one tonight. So we
Well,
have...
weren't they there yesterday?
They were there yesterday. So for anyone that was watching last night, we did see a bandicoot. And they were actually classified as extinct in the wild here in Victoria.
Then how come you found one?
So, before they became extinct in the wild, the zoo, Melbourne Zoo, were able to get some of those bandicoots from the wild, and they started a captive breeding population, like they did with the helmeted honeyeater. They were breeding them in captivity to release them into the wild. So 3 years ago, we released 67 bandicoots here on the Summerland Peninsula, where the penguins live. So now we have around 300 bandicoots, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, weren't they running across that pool of water with their white tail?
Oh, they were the Ricali. They're another little animal that we have here that we might see tonight. But certainly I'll get very excited if we see a bandicoot. Oh, there's more penguins on the Penguin Highway.
So are they still classified as extinct in the wild?
I don't think that classification has changed yet. That's a very good question because they're certainly not extinct in the wild anymore because we have them here on Phillip Island. We have them on Churchill Island, which is a little island just off Phillip Island that we help to look after. And there's also 3 fenced off areas on the mainland where they live as well. So they're certainly not extinct in the wild anymore, but they still are critically endangered like your helmeted honeyeaters. They still need a little bit of help. Okay, now I might go back to the main beach and see what the penguins are up to. Now, Oscar, you said you watched last night. Do you want to guess how many penguins you think came in last night?
Oh, gosh.
The night before that, it was 1,233.
Yeah, I'm going to guess 1,152.
Oh, not too far off. Rach, how many penguins do we have last night?
We had 1,443.
Wow, 1,433.
I know there was a lot in that first group.
There was, yeah. That first group was
Massive.
it was massive. Yeah, you're right.
180.
180, that's it.
There was like no penguins. Waiting. And
There was that one penguin.
Yeah, and then there was that just huge raft.
Yeah. And if you were counting the penguins, Oscar, how do you think you would go?
You said that you'd group them in 5s and 20s.
Yeah. You don't count the legs and divide by 2?
Count the what?
No. The legs. No, I'm just being silly.
That would be a lot harder.
It would be a lot harder. That's why I'm just being silly. Because that wouldn't be a good way to count penguins, would it?
Be almost impossible to see all the legs.
Because their legs aren't very long, are they?
Yeah, they're not very long.
Actually, that makes me think of their waddle. Oscar, do you know why a penguin waddles?
Yes, because their knees are up there, like they're on their upper leg quite high up.
Yeah, they're real high up and they can't bend.
Yeah, which must be really painful.
Oh, I don't think it's painful. I think it's just a bit awkward when they're on land because they're really much better at being in the water, aren't they?
Yeah, it would be easy to swim because, like, if you think about it, your knee can bend really well. So your whole leg would be able to bend that well. And then you'd be able to, like, swim really well because your legs can bend extremely well.
Oh, I never thought about it that way. Oh, penguins, they don't really use their legs too much when they're swimming. They use them to kind of direct them when they're swimming through the water to help choose which way they're going. But other than that, they use their really, really strong little flippers. So they're pretty cool little birds. Now, Oscar, what's one of your favourite things about penguins?
They're a lot like me. They get nervous quite easily. So they
Aw.
might hesitate at the water's edge and like have a few attempts but run back and maybe they'll wait for some friends. But then when they get the courage, they're just going to go for it.
Yeah, it definitely takes a bit of courage to run across that sand. It takes a bit of courage to be here on the live stream with me tonight as well. So thank you for being brave like a penguin and joining us tonight, Oscar.
Also, a question I had were, why are little penguins blue? Because if they're trying to blend in with the night sky so that the predators don't eat them, then wouldn't it be better if you're black?
Ah, that's a good question. So the penguin's camouflage is really for when they're out in the water. So they spend 80% of their time, so most of their life they spend out in the water. So that's what they're made to do. So when they're in the water, they float on their belly. So all of their back is exposed to the sky when they're in the water. So that means
So
that
if they were black like a normal penguin, then like any bird of prey could just like identify it right away.
yeah, they'd be a bit easier to see. And other species of penguin are black on top, but they live in a lot deeper waters. Our penguins stick pretty close to shore, so they're blue. I
generally thought because little penguins, the most scary part of their day is crossing the beach. So if it's nighttime, you'd want to be black.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, their white bellies are quite easy to see on the sand, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that makes them stand out when they're on land. But then their white bellies, like their blue backs, help them when they're in the water. So can you imagine if you were a shark and you were out in the water and you looked up, it's quite bright. So their little penguins' white bellies actually blend in with the sky for anything that might be under the water.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and penguins, I said sharks, but penguins are pretty lucky that sharks don't try to eat them. Our penguins here are pretty safe in the water.
Definitely.
Yeah, but just in case, because sometimes we get long-nosed fur seals or leopard seals, and they might try and eat a penguin. We don't want that, do we?
Do you have like any specific penguins that you can like recognize them and like you name them and stuff like that?
It's quite hard because they all look very similar, as you can see. We have one or two. There's one penguin who actually is missing a foot. So sometimes we see him hopping across the beach and we call him Stumpy. So if we're really lucky, some nights we might see Stumpy walking across the beach. We have had penguins in the past who've had little spots of black on their tummy, and they're quite distinct. But other than that, they all look the same to me. I don't know about you, but I couldn't tell apart.
How did you find one leg?
What was that?
How did it get one leg?
Oh, we're not really sure. It could have been a lot of things. He might have cut his leg and it got infected or something. But I think one of the most common things that happens to penguins is that they get something tangled around them. So we actually had a penguin that came in one night and he had a whole heap of fishing line wrapped around his leg. So if that had stayed on him, it might have cut into his leg and he might have lost his foot like Stumpy. But we were lucky we were able to catch that penguin and we were able to take him to our wildlife hospital to rehabilitate him for a release back into the wild, which is what we want to do. Yeah, which reminds me of something that I think we wanted to talk a little bit about tonight was that marine debris, that rubbish that ends up in the ocean. Because we're here to talk a little bit about Nature Play Week, which is about getting kids out into nature to play and explore. And that's one thing that you can do if you want to get out and explore out in nature and help our little penguins is pick up some rubbish off the beach. Yeah. Do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, we sometimes pick up rubbish off the beach.
Yeah.
I homeschool, so it's quite easy sometimes to find time. Like if I've done all my work and there's still like 3 hours left of the day. Sometimes if we don't have anything on, Mum might take me to the beach to pick up some rubbish.
Yeah, oh, that's fantastic. We just need to be careful, make sure we maybe wear some gloves and Mum or Dad come with us to pick up rubbish because it really does help our animals like our penguins, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What else can we talk about penguins? Oscar, I wanted to ask you, do you know how to make a penguin noise?
No.
No. Do you want to learn?
Yes.
Okay, so they make a few different noises. Sorry, I just wanted to go to the highway camera because I thought I saw a penguin hopping along and it would be a huge coincidence if it was Stumpy. No, it's not Stumpy. It's just a penguin with a funny little walk.
No.
Never mind. So when the penguins are in the water, they make a sound that we call a huck. So they go, huck, 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 huck. Do you want to give it a go? That's pretty good. Rach, do you want to give us a huck as well? Huck, huck. So you usually won't just hear one penguin huck. That's why I try and get everyone to do it because they do that to call out to each other to group together, which I think is pretty cool. And then they have one of my favorite calls they make when they're on land. We call a trill. So I might get you to try this one. It's a little bit harder. So they go. Do you want to try it?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I'm very impressed. Oh, and we'll get everyone at home to try it as well. Don't feel embarrassed because you've seen us do it. We can't see you do it. So give it a go and let us know in the comments how you go. Now, while people are trying to make their penguin noises, I might see if Rach has any questions. Any questions for me or for Oscar?
Yeah,
Rach?
we've got a question in general. Peter was asking, if the penguins come home after dark to avoid the predators, what time does the penguin head off again back to sea?
Ah, interesting question, Peter. What time do the penguins go back out to sea? Do you know the answer, Oscar?
No.
No. So, if they're coming in when it's dark for safety, then they go out again in the morning, but while it's still dark. So they go out before the sun comes up again. So the penguins we see coming in tonight, they might come on land, they might rest for a few days, and then they'll go back out to the sea in the morning. Which is something I've never seen. I think that would be pretty cool to be able
So
to
it'd be
see.
like at 5 a.m. when it's still dark.
Yeah, probably a bit. I'm never up early enough to know what time sunrise is, I'll be honest. But yeah, you're right. Probably around 5 a.m. Maybe a bit earlier in summer.
My sister woke me up at 5 a.m. So
So you know.
I know exactly what it looks like. It
There you
happened
go.
today because we were going to the dawn service for Cub Scouts.
Oh, lovely. Oh, there you go. So yeah, you know what the penguins see.
It was
in the
about
morning.
5:20 when the sun rises. I'd say 5.
Yeah. So then the penguins should be out by then. Oh, and look, there's another little animal here on the camera. Do you know what this one? Not the little girl. Drinking from the puddle. Do you know what we have here, Oscar?
I can't exactly see it yet.
That's all right. We have a little swamp wallaby who's having a bit of water from the puddle there. I know you have a little screen, so it might be a bit hard to see. Let me zoom in. I think it's the same, maybe one of the same wallabies we had last night.
Oh yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, and
Oh yeah, no.
people might be able to see the little white tip on the end of its tail, which is something that we see quite often here on the wallabies on Phillip Island that you don't usually see anywhere else, which is pretty cool. All right, let's see what the penguins are doing now.
Some guest was asking
Yeah.
how old is Oscar? Maybe Oscar can
People
tell
are
us.
wondering, Oscar, how old are you?
I'm 10 years old.
10 years old. Fantastic, and already a
accomplished.
wildlife expert, very accomplished, a passionate environmentalist, and you won an award as well, didn't you?
Yes. I came second in the Keep Victoria Beautiful Young Leaders section.
Congratulations. And I did mention earlier that you're here to talk to us on behalf of the Kids in Nature Network and the Nature Play Week. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So the Nature Play Week encourages kids to play in nature.
Mm-hmm.
Each day there's a different theme. So yesterday was a big backyard camp out. Today is World Penguin Day.
Great. And what are some of the things that you do to get outside into nature, Oscar?
I really like to do scouting.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you some great opportunities to do lots of activities in nature, like hiking and camping. I recently did my big 5-day camp. That was really fun.
Yeah, that's a long time to be camping. Well, for me anyway.
It was for me as well. I
Yeah.
also really like to go to national parks and go on walks, and because if you look closely you can see all kinds of cool wildlife
Mm-hmm.
like lizards, wallabies and echidnas. I remember once at Scouts we were walking and on the same night we saw a lizard and 2 wallabies. So that was pretty lucky.
Yeah, that's very lucky. That's so cool. And we're very lucky with all the wildlife we get to see here on Phillip Island as well. Our penguins, wallabies, bandicoots. Haven't spotted a bandicoot yet tonight. I did want to find one for you. But it sounds like you have a great time getting out into nature. Yeah. And I think we're really happy that we've been able to bring the penguins to people, even if they can't get out and go into nature, that you can still watch nature at home, which is pretty cool, isn't
Definitely.
it? Yeah. Now, we're actually getting towards the end of the stream because we had a little bit of an interesting start. So, Oscar, is there anything you want to ask me about penguins?
I had a bunch of questions, but I've forgotten them.
That's all right. If you can't think of one, I can grab a question from Rachel. What do you think?
Got a question from Jordan, our Ranger Jordan.
Ah, Ranger Jordan, who you might have seen on the live stream, has a question for us. What's that, Rach?
Yeah, what is the coolest animal you've ever seen in a wild, Oscar? The coolest.
Pardon? Oh, helmeted honey eater, definitely.
I thought you might say that. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about that. How about second coolest? Do you have another one? Rachel said penguins.
Probably, we were going to forest and we were on a walk.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, we were driving to the shops. And when we were driving back to the cottage that we were staying in, we found a koala on the side of the road. That was pretty cool.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's a lovely little story. And we have a little population of koalas here on Phillip Island at our Koala Conservation Reserve, which is actually one of the things that we look after here at Phillip Island Nature Parks. So anyone who does come and visit us at the Penguin Parade or at the koalas or at Churchill Island or the Nobbies, they're helping to look after the koalas, the penguins, all of our wildlife here on Phillip Island. So I did just want to mention that and say that if anyone does want to help us with the work we do here at Phillip Island Nature Parks, they can come and visit or they can donate to the Penguin Foundation, which also goes towards our wildlife hospital where we care for some sick and injured wildlife as well, like that penguin who got all tangled up that we were talking about earlier. Okay, and I think we're coming to the end, so maybe we'll get one more question. Have you thought of any of your questions, Oscar?
No, sorry.
No, nothing you want to know about penguins? Whoa.
I had them all
A
written
groupie
down.
group just that's okay. I know we were talking about the penguin count earlier, and
Oh, I just noticed something really cool on the Penguin Highway.
yeah.
Penguin that was all camouflaged in the bushes.
Oh, I can't even see him.
He's running around now.
He's done
Probably
pretty
because
well.
of the delay, you've probably missed it.
Ah, damn. Oh, you were too quick. Penguin was much too quick for us on the highway camera.
Maybe Oscar would like to know this. How do we tell the difference?
There's a really big waddle coming in.
Yeah, so that's a waddle is what we call a group of penguins on land, isn't it?
Yeah,
Do you know what we call them in the water?
a raft.
A raft. Very good. And Rach had something for us.
Yeah, Oscar may be wondering too. How do we tell the difference between the male and female?
Oh, that's a good one. How do we tell the difference between a male and a female penguin? So, it's a little bit hard to see right now. Oh, here's some coming on the Penguin Highway. Maybe we'll be able to see here. Now, Oscar, I want you to look really close at the penguins' beaks and tell me, can you see some penguins that might have a bigger beak than others? I'll try and look at their beaks as they go past.
Just waiting for the penguins to come.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. You have a little bit of a delay. So what we want to look for is we want to look for some penguins with a big beak and some penguins with a little beak. And ones that have a really big beak are probably a boy, and ones that have a really small beak are probably a girl. Have they come up on your screen?
Nope.
Oh no, that's all right. Don't worry. But now you know, if you do come and visit the penguins, you can try and see one with a big beak and one with a small beak.
I can sort of see the difference with the on the main camera.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Oh, and they've just gotten a fright and they're running under the boardwalk, so we might go back to the main camera. Oh, and where have all our penguins gone? I'll go back to the beach because there's a few more coming in there. But I think we're coming to the end of our live stream. Was there anything you wanted to say before we go, Oscar?
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I hope that everyone is inspired by Oscar to get out in nature learn a little bit more about our threatened species and our native wildlife, get out and explore and appreciate them. And I hope you've all had a fantastic night watching our penguins on
Oh,
Live
now I
Penguin
can
TV.
see the penguins coming on the
Yeah.
highway.
Oh no, all the technology has been messing with us tonight. So thank you so much, everyone who's been bearing with us. Thank you for your patience, Oscar, and thank you for being here with us tonight. Now, Oscar, something we normally do at the end of our Live Penguin TV is something we call a huck off. So when we say goodbye, we all huck like a penguin. Do you want to do that with us?
Sure.
Yeah? Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, everybody. Bye-bye. And we'll give everyone a huck.